On the 29th of October 2011, just under 1,000 players gathered outside Old Billingsgate in London, ready to enter the venue for the second ever RuneFest. Some people were geared head to toe in endgame cosplay, others had cute and basic outfits. Others strolled up hungover, still wearing yesterday's clothes. All of them, as they entered, were given red goodie bags containing various bits of merchandise, hats, pens and item codes for a new exclusive in-game item, the RuneFest hood. With queues all around the building, there were still scores of people waiting to enter as we hit 11 AM, and the first main stage event of the day, a decade of Gielinor. As the big opening act of the day, the seats slowly started to fill up with all eyes on the stage. Some people are yet to enter, others forego the event to meet friends or investigate the mythical world Jagex had put together inside the venue. But those who are at the main stage aren't just about to see the event open. They're about to be thrown into a race for one of RuneScapes' most exclusive and controversial items, the Golden Scythe. While there were plenty of things to see and do at RuneFest, the biggest things all took place at the main stage. These events featured exclusive talks from the game's staff, a look at its past and first ever reveals for the future. A decade of Gielinor was going to be an exciting look back in the old days of RuneScape, hosted by its founders themselves, the Gower brothers. However, RuneFest 2011 fell right before another big event, Halloween. So right before the session started, a special guest entered the stage, Death himself. How Jagex managed to get the budget for the real Grim Reaper, I'll never know.
I tell you what, there's some hot girls here.
Death embraced his inner Oprah and told everyone to look under their chairs, as he had something for them. This wasn't a new car, however, nor was it the bubonic plague. It was a pamphlet, containing a unique puzzle that would lead to a special reward. While this puzzle could be solved at any time, Death asked very nicely for no one to open it before the session was over. As we all know, the RuneScape community are always law-abiding goody-two-shoes, so I'm sure that no one disobeyed him. Definitely not. So this session began, an hour of the Gowers talking about their baby, the old days of devious mud and some short and sweet stories that had never been told before. And 60 minutes later, players opened their pamphlets and were greeted with a puzzle, or to be precise, 26 questions. Well, Death said we could solve it at any time. He seems like a trustworthy fellow. So many players pop it into their bags, planning to solve it casually throughout the day, making sure to enjoy RuneFest at their leisure. Others used the questions as an excuse to explore the venue, dictating where they would go first. And, undoubtedly, you had your RuneFest 2011 pamphlet runners who were already clipping backwards up the stairs to get this done immediately. Actually, one person for 26 questions is a bit of a tall order. Better bring in some friends. We'll solve this quicker as a group. Everyone, pick a question or two and then we'll meet back together and share the results. Meanwhile, all the peasants without RuneFest tickets were stuck playing RuneScape like normal, as opposed to those who had paid all the costs to get there and gone straight to the computers to play RuneScape anyway. At the same time as RuneFest, RuneScape was running their annual Halloween event, this time under the guise of DeathCon 2. At the in-game event, players could talk to Fame to receive a RuneFest puzzle book, which also contained 26 questions? Huh? Turns out, you needed both sets of answers to actually get your reward. RuneFest attendees needed the players' answers, and the players needed the attendees' answers. Getting both sets of answers in-game would give you a glorious sock mask, which definitely looked just as cool as a RuneFest suit. Definitely. The attendees, on the other hand, pieced together their cryptic sentence with both sets of answers, revealing the message, "Death might just reward your quick puzzling with exclusive benefits." Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good for our casual solvers. Turns out, those pamphlet speedrunners had the right idea. When you handed in your answer, you'd be given a code for the sock mask. But if you were one of the first, you got a second code for a Golden Scythe. As attendees receiving this special scythe went to claim the reward in-game at the computer room, intrigued onlookers started gossiping, and it didn't take long for words to spread like wildfire around the event. And since Jagex hadn't given any information on how it was distributed, rumors started popping up. Maybe this was just a bonus for players who had the original scythe from 2003? Maybe you just had to ask a JMod very nicely for one. Maybe it was a bonus for people who had subscribed to Will Miss It and liked all of his videos. Oh god, I really did upload back in 2011. I've been doing this for 10 years, oh wow. Well, the people who were by the computers could just, ask the person directly. Oh yeah, I got it from saying, "Death will give me a present" to the rewards table. Simple enough. So now that people knew the answer, they went to go claim their scythes. But as the 25th player with the completed puzzle sheet handed it in and received their code, they started to walk away, only to notice that the person directly behind them did not receive the scythe. Odd. They didn't give this much thought and just continued on with their day, but word soon started to spread. The scythe had only been handed out to a few players. Well, you're at RuneFest, surrounded by all sorts of members of Jagex staff. In person. So obviously, if you have a question about the event, there's only one thing to do. That's right, complain on the in-game forums. Hours after word had started to spread, a forum post gained traction, full of players upset that they hadn't received the scythe. And that's where Mod Matt K, a community manager for the game at the time, finally gave the clarification. The scythe was only for the first 25 players to correctly answer Death's puzzle. So, just to clarify, some, not all, attendees were given a puzzle, told not to open it ahead of time, and weren't told that you had to solve it quickly to receive a bonus reward. Sounds fair. I'm sure no one had any problems with this. So anyway, you know the 5 stages of grief? Attendees were dumbfounded. This was a mistake, right? RuneFest was an inclusive event with people of all ages, young and old alike. There were also disabled attendees at the event. There's no way that I've put on a secret race that some people had no chance of winning, right? Confusion quickly turned to accusation. There's no way the first people to solve it didn't cheat. They just told all their friends the answers and took all the sites for themselves. In fact, they probably just handed in the same completed sheet over and over again. Even though the sheets weren't handed back to the attendees, but that's beside the point. They didn't deserve their sites. Others started to approach the literal CEO of the company, Mod MMG, pleading for alternative ways to obtain it. MMG was firm that only players with the code would be able to receive them, and disappeared backstage to investigate a weird laptop that some 18-year-old kid had brought in to show him. Yeah. Meanwhile, players in-game hadn't progressed past the anchor stage and started rioting in World 66. It was unacceptable how Jagex had handled this item. Positively unfair. The only way they could make this up to the community was by giving them to everyone, especially the people who didn't attend RuneFest and had no way of obtaining it. Funnily enough, Jagex ignored this. As Sunday rolled around and RuneFest's second and final day opened, there was a weird feeling in the air regarding the sites. Most players had spent their Saturday nights wallowing in despair over not getting a scythe. And by that, I mean they either didn't know it existed, didn't care, or were blackout drunk. Some attendees wanted to track down all the owners and compile a list of them. However, given the controversy surrounding the item, some players now want to keep their identity private, fearing targeted hate or hijacking attempts. Other attendees who had paid the premium VIP ticket felt cheated, as they were not able to receive an item that many normal attendees had been given. Given how butchered the distribution of the item was, people started to suspect it had been a last-minute addition to the event. Everything else had been planned out exceptionally, so this weak link felt very odd. And, in fact, this conspiracy theory had some credibility. Data miners discovered that the Golden Scythe had been added to the game 2 weeks prior to RuneFest, on October 17th. This seems fine at first, since they'd obviously need to add in the item before RuneFest itself takes place. But a week prior to RuneFest, the Golden Joystick Awards took place, which Jagex had been nominated for. Previously, when Jagex had won this award, they distributed golden crackers and golden hammers to all players as a thank you. But due to players' dissatisfaction regarding other issues around that time, Jagex did not receive the award. It's not too difficult to imagine that the Golden Scythe was meant to be the Golden Joystick Award item and haphazardly rebranded as an exclusive RuneFest item when they didn't win. This theory was rejected by both Mod Matt K and Mod Rowley, the developer of the Scythe, who claimed the item was just intended to be a fun RuneFest item. It was a scythe for the Halloween theming, and golden to make it a distinct special item. Whether you believe that or not is up to you. At the very least, Jagex did have some foresight regarding the sites. When handing out the codes for the Golden Scythes, winners were told to write down their usernames before receiving it, so Jagex could keep an eye on what now would be a highly sought after account both for hackers and real-world traders. Doubly so if the players tried to sell their account. It's been a long time since RuneFest 2011, and those 25 sites have dwindled over time. One of the owners have been banned for unknown reasons, and many have not logged into the game for a long time. It's hard to tell how many active Golden Scythe owners there are in the game right now. But whatever the exact number is, the item is undoubtedly one of the rarest to exist in-game as a result. This was the first and last time that Jagex had awarded items in this way, both in terms of how it was obtained and how limited it was. And while few people even remember the item, or the controversial history surrounding it, it remains as another interesting and amusing tale in RuneScapes' vibrant, colorful history. Anyway, that's all for today's Golden Tale. I'll be back soon with more forgotten lore from our favorite game. Until then, thank you all so much for watching. I've been Will Miss It, and I'll see you all later.